I would like to take this time and welcome you all who have taken time to participate in our webinar this morning. I think there is nothing more intriguing, or should I say more interesting, than to see the topic that has brought us here together. Step out, to step out. Women breaking barriers. Absolutely powerful. I think when I think about today and what we are here to celebrate more than anything else, is to realize that our success today as women, especially in South Africa, lies on the shoulders of women who took very bold steps, women who decided one day it was enough. And they marched to Parliament because, hey, those days women could hardly access a lot of things because of the past laws. But it's interesting that after so many years, when you look at the life of women today, we realize that women are now fighting a different battle. It's no longer of restrictions externally or somebody placing a limit on how much you can be, but it's now women having to fight the internal barriers that can stop them from being the best that they can be. So today we have a rich, absolutely rich spread of phenomenal women, women who lead by example, women who have gone and changed corners of the world where they found themselves and who continue to leave such powerful legacies among us. So I don't want to waste too much time because really my job is simple. It's just to allow these golden women to come and inspire us today. So I just want to take you through a very short bio of a powerful woman I'm about to start off this webinar with today. It gives me great pleasure to introduce to you our very first guest speaker, Dr. Shirley Zinn. Shirley is a trailblazer. When you talk about a trailblazer, we can attest to that. And I think you are going to be hearing more from her. A woman who has broken many barriers in her remarkable career. And she has a very remarkable story to share with you today. A story of humble beginnings, of hard work, commitment to her purpose. With a wealth of experience in business leadership, Shirley is the newly appointed chairperson of Westgrow and independent chairperson of the board of the V&A Waterfront. She serves as a non-executive director for MTN, Sanlam, SPAR, Spur, and WWF, among others, and also has her own consulting business. Shirley is a champion for empowering women, advancing leadership and advocating for equity in all spheres of life. Her journey speaks to the potential waiting to be unlocked with each of us. We are truly honored, among other things, to have Shirley as a patron of Free to Grow. Thanks for carving out the time, Shirley, in your very full schedule. We know that you are always busy, but you have given us this opportunity today so that you can come and share your insights and experiences with us. I just want to hand over to you and say a very warm welcome to you, Dr. Shirley Zinn. Please take us through.
Thank you so much, Nontsapisa, for that wonderfully warm and gracious welcome and introduction. It's lovely to see the familiar faces, and again, wonderful to be stepping out, to step up and celebrating women and reflecting on the challenges and the work that still has to be done to really also, as you point out, look at our internal barriers. So today, it's a great honor for me to be here as the patron of Free to Grow, to just share a little bit of my personal and professional journey and some of the key lessons that I've learned and that I continue to learn as I navigate my way through life. And so, yeah, just bear with me as I share a few of the snippets over the next few minutes. So I want to start off right at the beginning and say that I was born in 1961, which makes me a very happy 63-year-old. And I've been really, very blessed in this life with so many things. But I point out that particular year to you because it was a year when apartheid was still very much alive and well. It was a year when the struggles for anti-apartheid, against apartheid were where women actually stepped up just 5 years before my birth to take that walk to the union buildings. And it was a time when I grew up in the Cape Flats, where huge exposure to sad socioeconomic circumstances are incredibly devastating for many women, especially young girls and young boys in those areas, with gangsterism and drugs and alcohol and gender-based violence and every possible sadness that comes out of what it means to live in places like this, and the poverty, and just inability to try and move yourself forward. And so, my parents didn't finish high school themselves, but somehow they knew that education was going to be our liberation. For my sister and myself, I have a sister that's 3 years younger than I am. And so the two of us were subjected to lots of discussions about life and what a better life could look like. And today we really also want to focus on what does a better life for all look like? What does it feel like when we live in a world where there's fairness, where we feel safe, where we feel protected, where we can make progress and where we can thrive? And so my father used to say, not fancy words like vision, but he used to say, please don't get sucked into this place. Please try to continue to learn so that you can work your way out and truly not be subjected to the dangers of living here. And he eventually said to me one day, all we want for you is to get your matric. That's all, because it's an opportunity to get to move out of this. And you can get a job after that. And I looked around me, I didn't see many boys and girls who went, to matric, who actually were finishing high school. And so it became a real buzz for me to say this, I want to achieve this thing, And my mom, on the other hand, was more around values of respect for other human beings. Very human-centric person who I love and miss very much. Also talked about humility, and not the humility that many of us think of where it's a weak value. Humility is a very courageous value to have, because it allows you, when you fall down, to get back up again. It enables you to ask for help when you need help. It enables you to apologize when you have made mistakes, and to own up to things, and to fix things. And so that humility element was going to play a huge role in my life. And just to be authentically yourself, you can't be anybody else. Just be your very best self. So it came down to, you must work hard, but please combine hard work with excellence, doing the best you can. And the important thing is best you can. Don't try to be perfect, because we are human beings, and perfection is not possible. And we all know we fall foul of this all the time, because we want to put that last dot on the PowerPoint just before we go live. It's the way we are wired. But do everything you can to the very best of your ability, and hard work is part of that. And then maybe some other key messages which I hold very close to my heart is around, this world needs some kindness. Let's be more kind to each other. Let's lead with kindness where we can. And then perhaps one or two others around generosity of spirit, just giving back, doing a little bit for some somebody else every day where you can, without expecting anything in return. There's something deeply fulfilling about that. And maybe the last thing is about service to humanity. Just live your life in service, and things will come your way. So I was very taken in with all of this. These lessons have stayed with me, and have helped me to, navigate some of the barriers and challenges that life has put along my path. And so, with all this in my mind, we used to go to primary school just up the road from us. And I walked with my sister, and my job was to make sure that she was safe. And we need to make sure all our sisters are safe. I mean, this is about what building a better world is about. So for me, it was symbolic, walking with my sister, making sure she got to school safely, making sure we came back. That road is not safe. I wouldn't walk on it today. Walk up that road today is about 1 kilometer to get to the school from where we were living in Steenberg. And so in the end, we lived with my grandmother during the week on the other side of the school where it was safer and a shorter walk. And we went home weekends. And again, during this Women's Month, we want to reflect on and celebrate our grandmothers, our neighbors who took care of children, nurtured children, gave them the opportunity, to learn from them. And today I want to hold up my grandmother, my mother's mother, and my dad's mom, but to say, you taught us discipline, and as young girls, all you want to do is play after school. Yes, you can play, but if you must come in at 5 o'clock, don't come 5 minutes past 5, because then you're late. And then you don't play tomorrow, because then you have to think about how you manage your time and respect other people's time. And so I learned it, and there's so much chaos in the world. To have some discipline brings some order to one's life and some focus. So I'm happy that I've learned to be disciplined. I'm happy that I've learned to be diligent about things that I have to do, and that, dedication to one's work and one's purpose, and determination, even if it looks difficult, even if it seems impossible, to keep on trying to achieve. So those are the 4 Ds I always want to associate with my grandmother. Some of you would have heard some of that already. And today I want to hold that up for all of you as well. And then, of course, we finished the primary school. We went to a school in Deep River in Cape Town called South Peninsula High. And funnily enough, the motto of South Peninsula High is not to be served, but to serve. Okay, it was in Latin, but that was a big shout out for me, and it's always been part of how I want to try and do things if I can. And I finally got to matric in 1979, and I had 2 teachers sit me down, Mr. Najjar, Mr. Isaacs, and they said to me, you're not the brightest pea in the pod here. You're not shooting the lights out academically, but we see potential. And today I want to say to everybody that's dialed in, we have incredible potential, magic, and talent, often locked up in ourselves because we're too anxious and fearful that if we let it shine, we might fail. What will people think of us? And all I want to say to you, think about what that magic and that talent is, and think about your potential, and making sure that you can unleash your full potential and help others to unleash theirs. And that became a big thing for me, that these teachers believed in me, and they said to me, go home and talk to your parents about university. So I went and I did that, and I knew it was going to be a problem about money and time that we don't have, and all of us, you must go to work. But long story short, I went back the next day and I said, yes, I will do my chores. I will have a weekend job. On a Saturday, I will work at Pick n Pay up the road, which is what I did as a cashier at the time. And they signed, they helped me to fill in my forms and get a government bursary. And back then you could get a government bursary for being a teacher, a nurse, or a social worker, I think. I just ticked the first box. I didn't have time to still mull over what is my career path going to be. And, I just had to pick something and then make it work, and also use it as a starting point. And even in that, there is a lesson for us, because, sometimes we start off somewhere which isn't quite where we wanted to start off, but it propels us forward, into places that we would never have imagined. And I was already beginning to imagine I could be in in a whole lot of other places now, suddenly all is, just ticking off this teacher box. Anyway, I did the first degree, and I had a diploma in teacher education at UWC. It wasn't easy years. It was 1980. In fact, I had to cancel my registration and my bursary in 1980, which was my first year of my studies, because of the massive educational uprisings and the campus closed. But I went for a few interviews and I didn't land a job. And while that might have been not quite what my parents were hoping for, or even what I was hoping for, because I thought I really have to work and help out, I went back to the university and requested that I can, or begged and pleaded, I should actually use those words, please come back and cancel my cancellations. Anyway, I finished and I went to teach for my 4 years. I taught English here at a school in Cape Town called Groenplace Secondary. And then I decided, you know what, you can do one degree, you can do another. So let's do an honors degree through UNISA. And today, again, I want to salute all those people, especially women, who study while they're trying to work, while they're trying to be mothers, while they're trying to help the communities. It is an incredibly difficult thing to do. So I want to salute you if you're one of those that have undertaken this journey to continue with your studies. And I really think that's the key lesson, the principle. It's not so much about the degrees necessarily. It is a lesson about, I have to continue to learn if I'm going to be relevant and effective. I need to stay on top of my game. And platforms like this is so wonderful, from Free to Grow, to set up a platform like this. So the best way we can learn is from each other, from our peers, from sharing our journeys and our stories, and connecting and building our networks of sisterhood that, will open doors and will encourage us and inspire us. And that's the other big lesson I learned in life, Anontapisa, is to, surround yourself with people who will uplift and inspire you. They will challenge you a little bit too, but they will be there to pick you up if anything happens. There are many naysayers in this world. There are lots of people who will tell you you can't do things, or you shouldn't even think about doing the certain things. And maybe they have good reason to say that you shouldn't. I think what is worse is that we have this inner voice in ourselves that will say, oh, no, that's too big. You can't step into that, and it tries to protect you, and it tries to make you think about what you're going to do to actually get across all those barriers of fear and anxiety. So the inner voices are important, but we must learn to say, how do I respond to that so that I'm still moving forward and the direction is always forward. So that is important. And so, of course, I finished my 4 years of teaching. I finished my honors degree. I went to UWC as a lecturer. I was like, yes, I'm in an educational institution now, and I can continue with my studies. So I did a master's. Now, I'm not advocating that everybody must do this. I'm advocating that you must just continue to learn. This is the most important thing. And going to the University of the Western Cape to be a lecturer was a great thing, because it was in teacher education. But a bigger, greater thing happened. I met Kevin in that same year that I went to work at the University of the Western Cape. And Kevin is now my husband for the last 32 years. And I am just so grateful. I want to say we must be grateful for the men in our lives who have stood with us, who have supported us, who have enabled us to be the people that can make a difference in this world. And I'm grateful to him today, because without him, none of this would have been possible. And I think in our hearts of hearts, we must think about those people, the men in our lives, because often we don't say thank you enough to them as well, in moments like this. And so, Sheryl Sandberg, in a book called Lean In, wrote a whole chapter about partnerships, and not just personal partnerships, but also professional and business partnerships, and how important it is to, to use your social capital to build and nurture good relationships. You're not just in the network for people to open doors for you necessarily, but it's a authentic, genuinely caring, loving relationships that we get ourselves into. Those are the ones that count the most in life. And so so I'm very, very grateful for that. And he's still with me 32 years later, which is incredible. And of course, as we moved on in our journey, we his mom, Jean, she likes to cut little newspaper clippings out for me. She thinks I might miss something. And this particular thing was that day, it was Harvard South Africa Fellowship now open for application. And if you go and Google Harvard South African Fellowship, you will see they send 5 people to Harvard every year. They still do. You must just get through all the academic hoops. They pay for your financials. And I said to her, do you really think that I can do this Harvard thing? This is my mother-in-law. I mean, she's the kindest, most wonderful person. And she believed in me before I believed in myself, because she was like, you can do this. If you don't apply, you will never, ever know. So sometimes we have to take a little bit of, that energy that other people give to us, and the belief that they're having us, and that leap of faith that we have to make into a path that we didn't quite think was going to be something that we were going to do. And I want to encourage all of you, maybe it's not Harvard, but maybe it's something in your life that you think you would have loved to have done. You've postponed it and deferred it. Put up your hand and stand up firm and try to move yourself forward on this. I went for an intimidating interview. I was picked as one of the 5 that went in 1990 to 91. I did a second master's there. And there I met the most wonderful supervisor who said, you must do your doctorate. And I said, I don't have a bursary. He said, first get in and then you worry about that. It was a difficult year for me because Kevin was staying in Cape Town and I was in Boston in the US. There was no email, no WhatsApps at the time. So it was snail mail and long distance. And it was challenging. And to those of you who have long distance relationships, again, and know it's hard work. But if you truly, truly care, then you have to put that effort into it. So I came back in 1992, and I came back earlier, and I asked Kevin, now imagine you're sitting at dinner tonight and your significant other comes home and says, guess what, I got into the doctoral program at Harvard, wouldn't you like to go with me? And I thought, if I see any sign that says no, it's going to be okay. But he said yes. He gave up his job and he sold his car and whatever. And he came with me, and we didn't even have bursaries. We didn't know we were going to do this, but we were going to take this opportunity and we were going to do this together. And this is what's nice about what is possible in this life. We don't have to walk this journey alone. We have to intentionally surround ourselves with people who will love, care, and uplift us. And that was so much of a giving of himself in that moment. And so we went, and it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. We ran out of money in the first 4 months, and there's a lot of financial struggle around. I know what that feels like, because we actually ran out of everything that we had. And I had to take that humility that my mother talked to me about so many times and do that walk of shame and own up to say, I cannot pay, and they said to me, well, we can see you haven't paid, so what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I think I just have to go home. And she said to me, well, let's look at your performance. And I learned very quickly what pay for performance was about, because they looked at my results every couple of months and they said, you can continue. And so I finished in 1997 with a doctorate. But in 1995, we gave birth to the most beautiful boy called Jamie. Right in the middle of all that anxiety and stress, the baby came. And so there was another dimension and wonderful, wonderful moments within our lives that we actually have to celebrate more. And we came home with the doctorate and the baby, and it was absolutely wonderful homecoming. And then I started to apply for jobs here. And the one thing that I wanted to do was work in the Western Cape Education Department. They didn't give me a job, and I was extremely disappointed. And here the lesson is, we will get rejection. We won't always get what we think is due to us. We will be angry and disappointed, which is natural, which is human, but we mustn't be angry for too long. I think that is important. Don't let your anger paralyze you into, not taking the next step. And because the next step was going to be a huge door opening whilst the smaller door closed. And the huge door that opened was into HR, was into training, was into transformation. it was an incredible journey as you were reading, Nontapiso, the jobs that I have held. And so I would never have imagined that that was possible. And my role in HR wasn't anything that I anticipated or planned, but I had to learn everything as I was going, bearing in mind that all my qualifications were in education. And then what happened, we moved up to Johannesburg, Pretoria. I landed a role there. And we took my parents-in-law and Jamie and Kevin and I all off from Cape Town to the north. And we had, such wonderful career opportunities. And that is another lesson in and of itself, because sometimes you have to, move out of your comfort zones into spaces that you're not familiar with and people, and go and grow there as well. And we had a wonderful time there. We came up and down Cape Town, Joburg, Pretoria. And in 2003, when my career was really flying, I was at Records at the time. You might not know Records, but you will know Cobra Polish and Window Lean and Mr. Min and those things that you find on the household cleaning aisle in the stores. And they're the ones who make all of these things. And I was responsible for Africa, Middle East, and it was just incredible. But we were coming back from Cape Town after a lovely Christmas holiday on the 3rd of January 2003. And we had a terrible accident just outside, just past the airport, Cape Town International Airport, on the N2. And somebody bumped us from behind and the car rolled, and we lost Jamie in that car accident. We lost this beautiful 7-year-old, our only child, in this devastating accident. And I cannot explain to you how traumatic that was. And I can never, ever get over the loss of Jamie. But I had to figure out how to move forward and what my purpose in life truly was after this had happened. It took a long time for me to recover. I was touch and go in the first 24 hours. They didn't know even whether to tell me or not what had happened with Jamie. And Kevin was very seriously injured. It was a devastation for the entire family and community as well. And the thing is, what I want to try and leave you with you as I try to close this, is that we have, as human beings, gone through COVID. We have lost loved ones. Our health is maybe not so great. We go to workplaces that is not empathetic and not compassionate and not human-centric, although they always say they put people first. We find that doesn't always happen, and in practice. And so I have made it my entire life's journey now and purpose to make sure that wherever I find myself, that I start to plant the seeds of why organizational culture needs to be more inclusive, why it needs to pay attention to people's health and wellness, why it needs to be more empathetic and caring of its people, and why we need to unleash the potential, especially of our young people, and give them an opportunity, especially women. And so that has been my journey in a nutshell. And we're back in Cape Town now. I'm sitting on a few boards as a non-executive director, as you were pointing out earlier. And I just want to say that this business of living life with purpose and meaning is so, so critical. Know the reason why you get up every night. And when you put your head down at night, make sure that you have lived that purpose every day. Use your time and your energy wisely. This is very important. I had to realize also that I needed to get help. We still stigmatize well-being. We still don't create an enabling environment for people to go and reach out and get help. Surround yourself with some mentors. Get professional help if you need it. I thought that I'd studied all the psychology, that it was enough for me to find a way to heal myself. But it doesn't work this way. You cannot do heart surgery if you're a cardiac surgeon on yourself. You have to get help from others. And so I just want to encourage all of you, it's okay to not be okay, and get the help that you need, because if you don't, you can never fully recover, and you can never put one foot in front of the other as you need to every single day. So I just want to perhaps just say, as I finish, I want to say thank you very much for this wonderful opportunity to speak to you today during Women's Month. and let us celebrate and let us reflect. And I want to wish you lots of love, lots of joy, and lots of abundance in your life as we move forward with this program today. A huge thank you to you, Nontapiso. Appreciate it.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Shirley. Oh my, what a time just listening to you. You know, one thing that I realize as you speak is that I don't know what the audience thinks, but you have this big sister effect. You know, the big sister effect is like when your big sister shows up, you want to straighten up. You want to make sure you're not doing anything that's out of line because the big sister is going to tell on you. And it's absolutely beautiful just listening to you. Key things that I take from you, Shirley, that you spoke about. And so often, you know, we see women being successful. We see women becoming powerful. And we sometimes forget those that have played the critical role in their moments where they needed to pivot and take on a new direction. You mentioned the men in our lives, and surely many of us sitting here today can attest to that. But it's beautiful to bring that to the fore because sometimes we can be so intoxicated with success that we think we arrived there just by ourselves. And thank you for doing that and so generously speaking about the relationship that was behind you, giving you the fuel that you needed in times where you felt discouraged, in times where you thought, I'm not going to make this, but he was there, your husband was there. I also want to pick out something else that you said. You spoke about your mother-in-law and the role that she played. Such incredible women. Sometimes they become wrinkly and old and we forget about the treasure that they are, the wisdom that they are able to bring into our lives. What an incredible mother-in-law that you've had in your journey to inspire you. You also said something that I felt is very important because if women are going to break internal barriers, the principle of association, you spoke about the people that we surround ourselves with, and that so often we could become so nonchalant in an environment that does not really give us anything of value. So to break out, it's definitely going to be about us here as women and taking the message out, the importance of the associations that we keep, because there's energy that they pass down to us. But I'm not going to say any more, but I've got a trio of very powerful women who are going to take us through an organizational perspective into women development. We had Shirley sharing her journey, which was a personal journey that impacted her, that has never stopped impacting women all around. So now I'm going to introduce to you a dynamic trio of women, but you know what? I want you to hold your horses and get one of them at a time because each has something very powerful to share with us. But I'm going to introduce the organization that they come from, because so often maybe people don't even know there's such an organization in our country. So I want to introduce to you the dynamic trio of women who are going to be sharing with us the organizational perspective of women breaking barriers. The Perishable Products Export Control Board is also known as the PPECB. It is the leading authority in quality certification and cold chain management for all perishable goods intended for export. With a very rich history of over 90 years, the PPECB plays a crucial role in ensuring that South Africa's perishable products meet stringent international standards. This national public entity, through its inspection, monitoring, certification services, safeguards the integrity of the country's perishable export industry, contributing to global competitiveness, market access, and sustainable economic growth. Without much ado, I want to welcome Pinky Luwaca, who is the Human Capital Executive at PPECB. She's also a board member at AgriSeta and Pumza Healing Home. and is deeply passionate about the empowerment of women, particularly in the agricultural sector. Her commitment extends beyond leadership roles as she actively engages in ongoing studies focusing on digital transformation and the future of work. Pinky's dedication ensures the success of the organizations she leads, driving both empowerment and innovation. Pinky is going to be sharing the why behind PPECB's Women in Leadership program and why they chose Free to Grow's EmpowHER to equip their high potential women to step out and step up. Welcome to you, Pinky. Please take the stage and share with us.
Thank you very much, Nonta, for that warm welcome. And yes, the PPECB in terms of the why. Why did we feel that it's important for us to embark on this journey of empowering our women? It started, I think, in 2020 with us at the PPECB, where we've articulated our strategic objectives. So one of our strategic objectives was that we want to contribute to the socio-economic transformation of the agricultural sector. So we felt that it's important that we as an entity also have a contribution in the sector. So out of those strategic objectives, then we needed to formulate our transformation strategy. So among other things that we wanted to focus on in terms of our transformation strategy, we know in terms of government of their national development plan that there's focus on women, there's focus on the youth, there's also focus on people with disabilities. Yes, we are doing all of those, but we felt that we want to zoom into empowerment of women. And so in terms of our transformation strategy, our focus area was to empower women with the aim of increasing number of women in leadership positions. And if we look at research, it shows that diversity at leadership levels is critical for the future success of organizations. So based on that, in our transformation strategy, we felt that empowering of women is essential. So not only did we the other reason why we felt compelled to focus on women development is that we also looked at our employment equity data. And the analysis that we did showed us, yes, we do have women, but the women that we have in the organization, are they at the right level? And for us, it was important to say, we want to empower women so that they also play a role in senior leadership roles. Besides being in senior leadership roles, there are also critical roles and scarce skills that are needed. So we felt that if we zoom into women, we are going to be able to achieve that. And as you've mentioned, Nonto, the industry that we operate in is the agricultural sector. And we all know that that sector is very male-dominated. And for us to ensure that our women are participating in this industry, we needed to ensure that we do something for them to be able to cope. Because if I were to take the PPECB, as you articulated, what we do is that we expect these women to go out and do inspections. And where are they doing these inspections? In a male-dominated environment. So we felt that we need to do something to empower our women to cope when they are out there. And also, so really it was also about closing that gap of ensuring that our women are participating at the right level. The important thing that we also did as we were embarking on this journey was to ensure that the executive team has got a buy-in, that they are willing to fund this initiative. And also, yes, our executive is 3 males and 2 females, but guess what? It is a male, our COO, who came up with this idea to say, you know what, we do have diamonds amongst us. And so we need to ensure that we do something that they can shine. And the reason that you were saying that is because in most of our leadership positions, it was really males. So he said, guys, let's do something to ensure that the diamonds that we have can also shine and they can also assume senior positions. Not only did we do that as the executive of the PPECB, when we launched the program, we wanted to ensure that the women who are also in that team also play a role. It was important for us to be visible. So the two of us, which is myself and the CIO, we assumed roles of being mentors because we wanted to show our women that you can also get there. So we've provided time to mentor the first cohort of people who went through the Women in Leadership. And also, we also had our general manager in operations to also be part of it because we wanted to make this real. Shirley spoke about authenticity. We wanted the program to be authentic and for people to really feel that we mean what we are saying and we are also walking the talk. Then we needed to look for a partner who is going to assist us in achieving what we want to achieve. And that is where Free to Grow came in. And we saw the EmpowHER program as going to assist us to achieve our goals because this program, by us partnering with Free to Grow, we wanted to empower our women to be credible leaders. We wanted them to increase their self-knowledge. We wanted our female leaders to own their space because many at times we are given the space, but at times we don't own the space that we are given. So through this program, we wanted to ensure that we empower our women to own their space and also cultivate that special ingredient that we have as female leaders because we do have something special. So by embarking on this journey, we also wanted to enhance that. Among other things that the why, in terms of why we did this, we also wanted to enhance the leadership skills of our women. So provide them training in leadership techniques, decision-making, strategic thinking, communication, and also conflict resolution. Importantly, we also wanted to build the confidence of our women. We wanted to help the participants to overcome the common barriers such as the imposter syndrome. We all know about that we fake it until we make it, but we wanted to ensure that we do have that confidence and also sort of deal with the issues of gender bias and also to ensure that our women are really confident because we do have the leadership abilities, but the confidence at times, the lack of confidence brings us down. So we also wanted to promote gender equality, address the gender disparities in leadership positions, as I have said, that mostly in our leadership role, we found out that it's male-dominated, but we also wanted to address that. We wanted to foster inclusivity, that, you know what, when we are in the boardroom, we are equal. So that is what we wanted to foster, and also ensure that there is diversity in the workplace. Importantly, the other why we did with this, we also wanted our women to develop networks and mentorship, because that is also what we got from the EmpowHER program. Create opportunities for women to connect with one another as leaders and mentors, and also build support systems that can guide their careers. I heard Shirley when she was speaking to say that we need to have that support. We need to surround ourselves with people who can actually help us grow. And that is also what then the why we wanted to have this program. And the other important thing was that we wanted career advancement for our women. You are going to hear later on in terms of how this program allowed us to achieve that. So we wanted women to equip our women with tools to navigate their career progression, be able to negotiate effectively and overcome institutional challenges, because there are those challenges at times which prevent us from achieving the goals that we set for ourselves. And last but not least, we wanted to inspire change. We wanted to encourage our participants to become role models and change agents, advocating for gender equality and encouraging more women to pursue leadership roles. And I think as we go through, you are going to see how we have managed to inspire change within the PPECB, how we moved from only having us who are EXCO as mentors, but also having those who were part of the program as leaders. So in a nutshell, we designed this program to cultivate female leadership and ensure that women have equal opportunities to succeed at the highest level of the organization. So thank you, Nonto.
Thank you, Pinky, for such a passionate way of sharing the story of PPECB. And again, I mean, it's amazing that your story again highlights men who are standing behind and being the ones who are saying we can do more for our women. I think then the rest of it is left with us women. The world is opening up for us to grab the opportunities, to occupy the spaces that are there for us. And we just have to really make sure after this webinar, we nail everything down, and it's the end of those barriers. We have to go out and grab everything that is there for us. So without much ado, I'm going to introduce our second speaker. And our second speaker is Roshon Omar. And she is the head of organizational development and transformation with extensive experience in the corporate and HR sectors. Roshon recognizes the vital role that new and emerging leaders play in driving an organization's success. As a qualified, experienced coach, Roshon's approach of creating a safe space for relationship building, alignment, and reinvention resonates beautifully with EmpowHER's approach. Leading the PPECB's Women in Leadership program has been a fulfilling experience for Roshon, who is going to be sharing what the program comprises. Over to you, Roshon.
Thank you so much, Nonta, and thank you for the opportunity to share our story today. So Pinky's touched on a little bit of what we were doing to achieve this particular program, but I want to start in the beginning for us. Shirley also spoke about something called potential. So when we went through the process of selecting our candidates, we were very particular about looking for people with potential. We could have just gone out and said, you know, we'll take everyone from a particular level and we'll grow them, but we were very specific. We actually asked people to motivate why they wanted to be part of this program, to show us that they were really interested in keen in developing themselves further. And we then also put people through psychometric assessments so that we could be very clear about what those potential ability is that they have, as well as what competencies they have, because that was key to what we wanted to improve on as well. The other part about selection is that we intentionally kept it a small group. And the reason for that is that we wanted these women to lean into each other, to create that support network. Shirley spoke about it, Pinky spoke about it. A group where they could go and find support at any point in time. So it wasn't just about work. It was beyond work. It was about who they were as human beings. So that was also around giving them the opportunity to optimize their learning as well as to connect with each other. Now, PPECB is a national organization. We are located all around South Africa. When I say all around South Africa, we are in rural parts of South Africa as well. So it's a very challenging environment, as Pinky said. And we needed to be able to make sure that our employees could both work as well as attend the sessions that we had. And it was intensive. So it needed to work for everyone. And that is why we chose to do it online. I know for a lot of people, they say, online can be very difficult. We were blessed. We had one of the best facilitators out there. We had Nonta. As you can see, she's an excellent facilitator. So Nonta, kudos to you. You built that space for women, for our women, to connect, to learn, to grow. And it was very evident in when we got to the graduation piece, but I'll get to that later. So the very first part that we did once we've selected them is that we said we wanted to have a launch. Shirley said, you've got to celebrate. So we did. We celebrated at the beginning of the program and we said, we're inviting everyone. It was virtual. We had a guest speaker who inspired everybody. And then we also introduced the team from Free to Grow, Nonta, Sonomi, and Alzan. Yeah, so we invited everyone and we said, you've got to meet the people who will be part of this journey with you. And they shared their own stories, they shared the program that they would be going through, created an immediate connection. You know, sometimes we go on courses, you go to university, you don't really know that lecturer. This was such an intimate space where people got to know each other. And that is what made the difference in this program. We had women sharing and women guiding that journey, which really made a big difference for them. The program itself, if I can just touch a little bit on that, Nonta. So, you know, we are in business. We can't run away from it. It is business. And one of the biggest parts about business is that as women, we need to learn how to make decisions effectively, how to think strategically. And this course entailed that as well. We had people, you know, our delegates who have not operated at that level of strategy and strategic thinking, and we needed to bring them up to that level. How do you actually get to the point of thinking at a strategic level, of making decisions at a strategic level? We also looked at self-leadership. Both Pinky and Shirley spoke about being authentic and knowing your purpose. And this was very, very important, that each of these women knew who they were and what they were able to do, how they could develop the 5 intelligences of leadership as well. And then we said, well, we want to break that glass ceiling. How do we do that? So we do that by also giving you a wider network. Part of that is building powerful allies and looking at how you build stronger business relationships. One of the important things around that was how do you build your personal brand? So for a lot of the women in our organization, they were not even on LinkedIn. For us, it's a given. We're professional people. We know we've got to have this profile. We connect through different means. But for a lot of our employees, it was not even a thought. So it was about introducing them to have that look that they felt was authentic to them, have them presented to the world through LinkedIn and any other platform that they wanted to, have their own manifesto. So it was really helpful for them to actually get through who they were in this workplace. And how do they then also integrate the work with the personal life? Shirley spoke about it, Pinky spoke about it. You know, as women, we have to play multiple roles. And we've got to manage that double bind. The stress, the balancing of energy. So the other part about working at PPECB, a lot of the women that we put into the program actually did what we called, they work in different regions. So let's say I'm based in Nelspruit for 4 months of the year. For the remaining period of the year, I'm expected to go and work in a different region, let's say in the Western Cape. I get removed from my family. And how do I cope with that? So part of this about managing your energy and your stress and, you know, that responsibility towards your family that you left behind also needed to be worked with. And they've managed to actually come through that knowing that they can do both. Shirley spoke about, you know, moving to Boston. And this is exactly what happens for these women in this particular group as well. Actually, most of our women in the organization. How do they manage that? I think the biggest impact that they felt, none of them had a coach before. So when Sonomi came in, it was astounding for them. I have someone who's going to listen to me, only me. Okay, it was only 1 hour a month, you know, but this person is here for me. I don't have to share this person with anyone. I can tell this person anything and how this person, Sonomi, will help me work through where I need to go. They really appreciated that. That we could see how they started blossoming and they started coming into their own through that process. The other part that I want to touch on is the importance of the mentors. So we had Elzan, you see Elzan is in that picture there with our 3 mentors. Let me tell you something about those mentors. All 3 of them were in the previous cohort. They all said, I want to pay back. I want to give back to the next group of women coming through. They raised their hands. They weren't the only ones, by the way, but we had to select. So we selected these 3, and we felt that it was very important to give them the skill set to actually go and coach and mentor the new cohort. They'd all been in the organization for a number of years. If I say number, more than 10 years each. The lady in the leopard print, Riva, Riva was one of our first female graduates to enter the organization and has made herself, she's climbed the ladder. She is what's called a chief inspector in our offices. Really a trailblazer. As the first woman in a group of males, that's a trailblazer. And she stepped up again. So this was an opportunity for her to really show that she could move forward and she could take other women with her, which is a big difference. You know, sometimes as women, we tend not to do that. There's always this thing about women don't support each other. This program was about how to actually support each other going forward and build it within the organization. The lady next to her is Surina. Surina started out as an admin person. She's now something called a business solution specialist, working with IT. She had no background in IT, let me just tell you, but she has that the sorry the interest of the customer. She has the interest of the business. She is smart. She's agile, and she developed into a woman that wanted to get other women to where she has been, and where she is now. And then the last person in the group is Marcel, who is our laboratory manager. Science in the house, ladies. We do STEM. She's an actual scientist. So she also said, I want to give back. You will not meet a most unusual person as Marcel. She's a scientist who is fully an artistic person. Painting, drawings, creativity. It's unbelievable how someone can have both sides of their minds working simultaneously, and this is Marcel. So she brings that energy in her mentorship with the people as well. So we were privileged to have those 3 ladies with us, and Alzan guiding them and building their leadership skills from a mentoring and coaching perspective. And then last to the entire program, something that actually is not part of EmpowHER, let me just set the record there, is that we ran something called Easy Reinvention Lab. So I am a certified reinvention practitioner, and I felt that, you know, we needed to bring this into the organization, into this particular group of women who want to develop themselves into senior leadership positions. And what we did there is that we ran a 5-week program with them internally, where we help them understand disruption. So you might think that agriculture is a stable environment. Actually, it's not. Things change quite a lot. We work in a global environment, as you've rightly said, Nonta, when you introduced the organization. We work in a global environment where things can change rapidly. Today, we can export to Europe, and tomorrow they say, no, we don't want your products anymore because of various reasons. How do we become agile enough to circumvent that and say, well, how do we step out and look for other markets for our producers? And that is what we teach people to look for. So the disruption part. Then we also help them to understand how do they move from fear to action. So sometimes when you go through rapid change, if you look at what we did with COVID, it was a huge amount of change for people. Some came through with flying colors and others didn't. So we needed to help people to understand you can move away from that intrinsic fear that we have, that the action that we have to change, and step into a space where you can deal with that change. And then also understanding client needs. So traditionally, we think that we know exactly what our clients need. The reality is most often we don't. Most often we don't engage with them. Most often we don't look at it from their perspective because we push rather than invite. And this was a process of teaching them to put yourself and empathize with your clients and understand what they actually want. Lastly, we also taught them how to create an agile strategy canvas. Now remember, these ladies had never been through anything that related to strategy. So this is basics. How do you say that these are the certain things I want to deliver in a year or 6 months or 3 months? We taught them how to apply that technique to build their own strategy. In this instance, it wasn't about the business. We asked them to apply to their careers. How are you going to be strategic about where you want to be? And that is exactly what they did. So they built their own strategy for themselves and their careers. And then lastly, graduation. We celebrated again. We had Alzan there, as you can see. We invited Alzan to our celebration. It was in person. We flew everyone down. But most importantly, we asked them to share their journey. And that is exactly what they did. It was unbelievable. We had our exco there, our COO, our CEO, Pinky was there. We had our previous mentors there as well. And they were blown away. They did not think that this is what we were going to see at the end of it all. The level of growth was phenomenal. Elbie will touch on it. I'm not going to take her thunder. But what I also want to do, I want to do a shout out. We had a speaker there, Ramona Gondon, and she's online today. And I just want to say thank you. She shared her journey as well in the agriculture industry. And it's not often that you find women in this industry. So for us, any opportunity where it's offered, we do take it. And that was inspirational for these women as well. So we need to constantly inspire each other to show that it's possible. It is possible. You can come from an admin person and be a CEO one day. And that's my story, Nonta. Thank you very much.
Wow, so well said. Thank you, Roshon. And I think as you rightly say, PPECB certainly took the power and decided to share it by distributing it and giving it to these women to take it into their hands to shape the future that they desire for themselves. So I'd like to introduce our third PPECB guest, and that's Elbie Nieuwoudt, with a fascinating blend of scientific savvy. I mean, if you look at the combination, it's quite interesting. BSc in microbiology and physiology, industrial psychology, that's BCom, and qualifications in Jungian and meta coaching. This bundle of contagious energy is breaking barriers as organizational development and change management specialist. Elbie's passions lie in transforming organizational culture and championing women's leadership and people with disability programs, among others. Elbie will be sharing the deep impact that EmpowHER as part of PPECB's Women in Leadership program did for their women. So over to you, Elbie. You are still on mute, Elbie, and we can't hear you yet.
Can you hear me now?
Thank you.
Thank you. I just it's always that tricky part of finding the unmute button. So thank you for that introduction, Nonta. I will speak about the impact on behalf of the ladies because they're not here, but I was able to be a fly on the wall on their journey, and it was such a privilege to see you in action through the last year. So the biggest impact that we picked up on is within these sessions, Nonta and the rest of the Free to Grow team really supported the idea of creating a safe space for our ladies to really show up, to bring their whole selves to the table, and then to discuss the things that usually society do not want us or do not allow us to discuss. So that safe space then built out wider, where they now created a supportive community within themselves. They set up meetings, they met each other whenever they're in the same region. There was WhatsApp groups, which are still active to this day. These ladies have graduated in March already, but they still send each other messages of support. If someone's going through a difficult time, they'll post it on there and everyone else can support them, guide them. They ask questions, they celebrate. And that's what I like. It links to what all the speakers said today, is how women help each other and support each other and promote each other. So from my perspective, what I picked up on the impact that this program has had on our ladies was the personal reflection, that ability to really go inside and just review, what does this mean for me? How do I apply this for myself? In life, I found that most ladies don't have the luxury of time of reflection. There's always 5 million things that should have been done yesterday already. And in these sessions, every session has time and space to reflect. What does this mean for you? How does this affect you? And that then was really the foundation for amazing personal growth. I heard a friend say the other day that in nature, when a plant isn't growing, it's dying. So we're always growing, we're always learning. And the growth that these ladies experienced in this program was really phenomenal. It wasn't just that they learned about strategy and all the technical things, but they learned about themselves and how to love themselves so that they can then show up authentically in the workplace. And I think they showed up more authentically in their personal lives as well, which is so amazing. So as part of this, obviously, we focused on leadership skill as well. For a lot of our ladies, they already started with their own initiatives on how they can lead outside of just their work environment. They are volunteering to lead projects in their communities, etc. And for some of our ladies, we are already, as soon as they were done, maybe I can put it this way, we have the first part of the program is where we select the handful of ladies that will go through the program. And then when they're done with that, most of these ladies then volunteer to become mentors for the next intake of ladies. I say volunteer loosely. They are very assertively demanding to remain part of the program because I think it's just that they love what we're doing and they see the value in it and they definitely want to be part of it. So it's an unofficially level 2 of the Women in Leadership is becoming a mentor for the next group. And then as soon as that was done, we're already co-creating with all of the previous graduates. What's our level 3? What will that mean? What are we going to do? If you've now mentored people, what will you do? And some of our ladies have already started mentoring even males around them in their offices. It's not just a woman for women. We're making it wider. What sharing is caring, no? And as I said, the impact is so much wider. We have the mentors in the program, but also we have men wanting or applying to be mentors for our Women in Leadership. So they see as well what we're doing and they want to be part of it and they want to help contribute to making these ladies as successful as possible. And unofficially, the impact this has also had is for me as a fly on the wall, I was able to join some of the sessions and just participate and bask in the light that Nonta shines and learn from all the theory that she shares with the ladies. But also one of my colleagues who joins just with them to do the admin of it, but it really significantly impacted us. And I know that for a lot of, or quite a few of our ladies have gone through really difficult challenges throughout this program, personal challenges. And they were able to use the skills and the awareness and the strategies that is shared in this program. They were able to use that to help them overcome the challenges that's what happens. Now you plan to do a development program and everything's going to go smoothly, and then stuff happens and you have to adapt and make things work. The biggest success, I believe, in all of this is that since the inception of our Women in Leadership program within PPECB, at least 2 candidates from each cohort have been promoted to a more senior position. A number of these ladies would have never applied for a more senior role because through this program, they only realized that they actually do have what it takes. So it's what I think Nonta referred to it in the beginning. It's like the barriers we put on ourselves. And through this program, they realized that I can, and I'm allowed to. So they applied, and a couple of them have been successful, but I'm sure if we speak in a year from now, those figures will have increased already. So the last thought from my side is we are aiming as PPECB. I think our strategy is that if we do this program well enough, women in leadership positions will become the norm. And we will no longer have to have a special program to help women get into leadership. It will just be a leadership program to develop everybody. And you'll see the picture on the screen. For me, that was significant because us as ladies can be the world's best boss, but you do not have to lose your femininity. You do not have to change who you are. You can go with lipstick and nice nails and still be the world's best boss. So I want to have just quickly a few minutes to let the ladies, we have some quotes from them on how the program has impacted on them. I will let you read that for yourself. So, as I said, personal mastery was amazing throughout this program. And just to illustrate that, our ladies were able to be funny and relaxed, even though our CEO, COO, HR executive, everyone in the same room, we could be authentically just ourselves. Wow. And that's the gift of the Women in Leadership program. Thank you, Nonta. Back to you.
Wow. Thank you, Elbie. It's like you released a ball of energy and just charged us all to desire this for ourselves, for our friends and everyone around us, just to experience the same kind of empowerment. Well, our time is quickly coming to an end, but to end us off today is Kim, and I'm going to hand over to her to just share her thoughts and comments at this point in time. Over to you, Kim.
An enormous thank you, Nonta. And the same to Dr. Shirley, to Pinky, to Roshon and Elbie. You have inspired us this morning and shown us what is possible with courage and determination to step out and to step up. It's been such a privilege personally and for Free to Grow to walk this journey with you. So thank you for trusting us. My overwhelming takeouts are 3 keys, I think, from what's been shared today, and that really makes a sustainable difference. It's the length and the depth of the journey. The development and the support of those internal mentors and other champions in our lives. And also that one-on-one coaching, it really had a huge impact. So thanks for building that into the program, PPECB. It really, I think, took it to another level. Every EmpowHER journey is crafted differently to ensure it's fit for your clients. So if you've joined us today and would like to explore what it could look like in your organization, please connect with either Chandre, Nontabiso, Alinda, or myself to explore the possibilities. A huge thank you to Kathy and Chandre in particular for all your work behind the scenes to make today possible, and also to Nonta for your beautiful warmth and for hosting us so warmly and professionally. So our next webinar is scheduled for October. It's an exciting one on a completely different topic, but please watch our social media channels and the website for the details. And thank you for joining us.